Hi guys, welcome back to Life Inspirations with Rue and Russ. We have started a new series on living life intentionally, and we'll take you through a few episodes that we will talk about our intentionality from when we started dating, before dating, dating, getting married, kids, and to where we are right now. And in the last episode, I spoke about my journey to getting to where I met Rue, and I think today it's going to be your turn to take us through your story. So yeah, go for it.
Okay. I think so. There's some similarities in how you prepared intentionally for dating, comparing to me. Obviously, the biggest one is seeking God.
Yep.
That's where it all starts.
Mhm.
Really, is you have to get to a place where you decide, that you want to do it the God way.
Correct.
And before, if you haven't intentionally decided that you want to do it the God way, then it's pointless. So I decided as well that I was going to do it the God way. And one of the things that I started doing, and I remember it was easy because I was in varsity those days, and I lived by myself. So I decided to set aside prayer time. That wasn't bedtime, and it wasn't morning time. It was just a time during the day. And I remember I picked like 7 p.m. because I knew at 7 p.m. I wouldn't be studying, I'll be back. It would be like before I started studying or whatever. So 7 p.m. was a good time for me. So every day at 7 p.m., I'll just spend time in God's presence, not asking for anything, not begging God for anything, but just soaking in His presence and just getting to spend time in God's presence, to hear God as He speaks, which is very important, and it's a really nice thing to develop, especially when you're still single. Because when you're married, there's a lot of noise, but at least you'll have built that foundation of being able to hear God's voice. So that's one of the things that I did, was to hear, to spend time with God such that I will hear His voice and know it. And it came into play later on when we met, because I did hear God's voice. And it was very loud, instructing me or telling me, okay, this is the guy, so don't mess around, don't say I'm gonna think about it, and just whatever he says, just say yes. We'll figure out everything else. But anyway, yeah, so that was one of the things that I did. Another thing that I did, and I started doing that earlier on, when I was still in my 20s, I think, with one of my friends. One thing that we decided to do was to never participate in negative talk about marriage. We just decided, if that's something that you want, then you best not participate.
You can't criticize what you want.
Yes, so you can't participate in conversations where people are speaking negatively around marriage. So that's just a decision that we made, and we just decided that. So whenever people start speaking negatively about marriage, it didn't matter, we would walk away, or we wouldn't participate. We just smile and wave. If it didn't matter if they were older people, because sometimes the older people, they have experience and they want to recruit you into the narrative, and they'll tell you about how bad their marriage has been for the past 20 years, and they're just staying for the kids. So conversations like that, we just decided that we're not going to participate in, we're not going to be a part of, and we're not going to give an ear to it. And I think that was a good thing.
And the Bible says life and death is in the power of the tongue. So whatever you speak, you actually bring it into being, and the more you speak about it, the more it's filled in your heart. And from the abundance of the heart, then the mouth speaks, and then so it just becomes a vicious cycle that you are pushing what you want away, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. So that was a good decision for us, because like what you're saying, we avoided getting too much negative talk settle in our hearts. So we always had a hope and an expectation. I'm not going to say that even when we made that decision that we made wise decisions, wise dating decisions. We didn't, but it was a good foundation for us to know, that we were hopeful about having a good, healthy, positive marriage. And that friend of mine, she's married, still happily married. She's been married. She got married before us, and still married, still happily married. And those are just like decisions that we made. And then another thing that that I did that was also intentional was to ask those questions, like when you start having that intimate relationship with God, and you are filled with so much negativity around you about how people speak about marriage. And for some people, you might not have even seen a positive marriage. So I had a conversation with God, and I was like, well, God, if marriage is so bad, what is it about this thing that everyone just keeps saying that marriage is bad? It didn't make any kind of sense to me that, God created this thing. So if God created it, then why are people, so many people speaking negatively about it? And I think that was one of the questions that really sparked the intentionality of dating as well, because God is like, no, I created marriage. Marriage is a good thing. So yours is to intentionally want to seek the fullness of the goodness of what God intended marriage to be. That is what our job or what our mandate is to do, is to do things intentionally so that we can actually experience the fullness of what God intended for marriage. So that was really cool, and it was deep for me, because I was like, okay, I had never heard anyone say that. I had never heard anyone look at marriage in that way, to say, okay, where is the formula going wrong? Because marriage itself was created by God, and every good and perfect thing comes from the Lord. So that means marriage is actually a good thing. The formula is going wrong somewhere, but marriage itself, as God created it, is a good thing. So then that also then put me in a position to always want to seek, intentionally seek the will of God within relationship and within marriage. And then another thing that I also did intentionally was to know myself. What kind of person am I? Because a lot of people in the waiting period, you're so desperate and so focused on finding the right person, but you don't understand that during that time, God actually wants you to understand who you are. Because I think that's also a foundation why a lot of marriages are struggling, is because people don't have an understanding of who they are, and people don't have an acceptance of who they are. And because of that, you end up going for someone that is good on paper, but is not necessarily good for you. Is not necessarily, and that's when you start thinking about the negotiables and the non-negotiables. A lot of people compromise on having someone who's Christian. That's not even on people's lists. It's always a by the way, like having someone that you can actually pray with. People understate it so much.
The value of corporate prayer.
Yeah.
The Bible says where 2 or 3 are gathered. That for me is very important.
Yeah.
Bringing 2 people, holding one thing and putting it to God makes a huge difference than one person, right?
Yeah.
One person brings 100 to flight, 2 brings 10,000.
Yeah.
So there's actually multiplication in effort when there's 2 people who are intentional about something and seeking God about that one thing.
And it just makes the world of a difference. Being able to be with someone that you can pray with about your marriage, you can pray with about your children, you can pray with about life, when life starts happening within the marriage, and you don't have to carry it by yourself. And people don't think about those things. Yes, someone that prays for you, because there's times when life is happening so much that you need someone that's so team you that
Mm.
you know that they have you covered. And people just being with someone that is that knows God just always seems to be in the back burner. I don't know if people think that it's such a big task or it's something that's impossible. But if you're gonna do marriage the God way, then don't. I highly recommend that you don't compromise on someone who knows God, because that will carry you a long way when it comes to marriage, because marriage is the rest of your life. And yes, you can come across 15 non-serious Christians, or however they do their Christianity, but all you are looking for is the one that God said yes to. There's no point in 15 that God didn't say yes to, and you jump onto every train that comes, and you've been on 15 trains now. Just wait for the one. And it's easy to actually eliminate once you put that thing of saying the person must know God. Makes your life so much easier, because you quickly eliminate and you save yourself from a lot of scars and a lot of baggage down the road. So I think that one was a good intentional one for me, was a man that knows God. It's just, I mean, I could never stress it enough. Yeah. And then the last one, we've kind of alluded to it, but the last one is to trust God. You have to trust God. You have to intentionally trust God. You have to look within yourself and have a conversation within yourself. Do you trust God? How much do you trust God? Are you trusting Him when He says this relationship is not it?
Yeah.
Are you trusting Him when He says, don't worry, I've got that person for you? You know, and you're seeing another person right in front of you that looks like they are great potential, but God is saying, no, not that one. Can you trust Him? So if you're going to do dating intentionally according to the will of God, then also trusting Him is important. It's definitely non-negotiable. So I think that's all I have to share about what I did, the process I went through about being intentional about dating.
No, thanks for sharing. I think it's good information. It's good information. Yeah. So I think we'll do next video very soon, and we will introduce the topic in the next